Maybe there is a God. Maybe there is one. And maybe it's not just computers. Maybe it's not just a big ass data center in space trying to control our lives. Maybe it's just God, and maybe we don't understand it yet, and it's fine. Because you are doing that. This dude is doing that simulation point thing. He's the one making the video games look real. Bro, he's like my cousin who sells crack. He sells video games, the same shit, the same dopamine, bro, fuck. We are living in a simulation. This is not real. You're not real. I'm not real. This chain is real. This chain is real. So a lot of this shit is not real, okay? I'm touching this. It's just chemical reactions in my hand telling my brain that this is real, but it's not. That's what this dude is saying. There's not a lot that I understand about what he's saying or the simulation theory. You're going to understand the hidden motives that this guy has, or he might not.
The Joe Rogan experience.
I was a video game developer in Silicon Valley, and then I became an investor in the video game industry. My background's in computer science, and what happened was after I sold my last video game,
I always watch dudes like these, right? Whenever I watch a dude talking about his career as a video game designer, like, these are some twisted people. I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying they're twisted in a different way. Like, I'm twisted. Like, me even doing this, me making music, me rapping, me having my own business. I'm a twisted guy. Like, I've been through some shit. I got scars on my body. Like, I'm twisted in my own ways. This guy is also twisted. Now, a normal person doesn't wake up one day and say, yo, I'm gonna design video games. And the video games are usually trying to mimic real life and trying to make it as real as possible, also at the same time as exciting as possible, right? So this guy from the bat is, out of the bat is twisted. Like, he's not normal. So whenever you listen to a guy like this, understand that his opinions come from his own understanding of life, like his own principles, his own morals. So that's why I got to put my shades on, literally and metaphorically, to when I listen to these guys.
Valley, and then I became an investor in the video game industry. My background's in computer science, and what happened was after I sold my last video game company back in 2016, so we're talking 7 years ago now. 8 years ago.
I wonder what video game company, what was it? Because I used to play video games. I really want to know the games that this dude made. That would provide more context to this clip that we're going to watch. Because I'm trying to enjoy it. Like, this shit is interesting, bro.
And I put on a virtual reality headset and started playing a VR ping pong game. Right, now these headsets were even bigger than they are now, and they were wired. So there's no mistaking you're in virtual reality. But what happened was that the ping pong game was so realistic that for a moment my brain forgot that this wasn't a real game of table tennis. So much so that I tried to put the paddle down on the table.
Cap, bro, cap. No. Like, I could be doing a lot of shit with my glasses on. Don't mean I ain't got no glasses. Like, I know that I got glasses on. All right, so if you're gonna play a game with VR, like, I played with games with VR. I played Wii before, right? I played that boxing game before. I know that I'm inside a simulation. I know that I put my headset on. I know that I gotta move within a certain space, or that shit goes out of connection and I can't connect to the game no more. I know that. For you to say some shit like that tells me that you're trying to sell something. I don't know what you're trying to sell yet. It could be a product. It could be an idea. But we're gonna listen to it, bro. I already got defensive a little bit. Like, yo, I don't want to listen to this. All right, let's go.
I tried to lean against the table, but of course there was no table.
But I think it's true though. I think this really happened to this guy. I know it happened to this guy, but I just don't understand the point of starting this conversation with that point.
To do one of these double takes, like, oh wait, I'm just in VR, right? So I started to think about how long would it take us to build something like a video game, and so that led me to this idea of the simulation.
Why would you want to make something so immersive that you don't like that is so weird though. Like, that is strange. I understand it makes you money. I understand it's fun. Even I have a lot of fun. But I don't understand the guy who's making the games. Like, yo, I'm gonna make this as real as possible so people buy the shit out of this. It's like finding the next cocaine. People will always want to find an escape from this world, man. Doesn't mean you should be making better versions of that. Like, this world is important. This reality is important. There's a reason God made this, okay? And
quantum physics and some of the mysteries around, the observer effect and quantum mechanics. And then I started to look at all the work.
Observer effect. Let me Google that shit. I don't know what that is. Observer effect. Observer effect. Psychology. The observer effect is the recognition that researchers are interacting with the system, usually through the instruments of measurement, and changing the phenomena being studied. I don't understand a single shit that this Google search has gotten me. Common example is checking the pressure in an... Oh, so observer effect is just basically you observing things. Like you seeing me wear this shirt, this fly ass chain, this shade. You observing me observing this iPhone, right? This is the observer effect. As much like that's what I'm getting from this Google search, man.
And so, you know, that led me to the conclusion that we are most likely inside some kind of a computer simulation or a massively multiplayer video game, depending on how you look at it.
But where did that computer game, where did that simulation come from if we were inside it?
So this guy is, I like this part. He talks about how religions talk about simulations and how you were created for a purpose. Like, I'm a Muslim. It's very clearly written in the Quran, like you are created here for a purpose, which is to serve God, understand Him, do good, go to heaven because of your good deeds. That's why you're here. That's what I believe as a Muslim. This guy's trying to mix his AI and gaming experiences with the religions, which is a very, very critical line to walk on. But the intentions are very positive. He's trying to find relationships between certain ideas. Gaming is a very new idea that has new aspects. But yeah, of course, a lot of these aspects can be relatable to these old religions. There's a certain belief and a moral side to it that these AI gaming shit doesn't have. So as much as I love the comparison, as much as I like how he's relating to the two different times, but it's still very different, man. It's still very different. We also got to understand, we got to draw the line where the line needs to be drawn. This is religion. This is God. This is us believing something that resonates with our soul. And this is gaming. This is something that you artificially making to give you an extra couple dopamine hits. Just to keep it clear, man. You can hate me if you want, but it's just what I feel.
Well, that's the big question, right? And there's two versions of simulation theory. And, you know, I teach a class called the NPC versus the RPG versions of simulation theory.
Okay. No way, this
so
guy.
NPC, as you probably know, means, you know, non-player characters within video games. So those are the AIs in the video game. You know, the bartenders, the people you're beating up, the opponents, all of that stuff. But basically,
this guy just casually said, like, yo, there's some people that you beat up, and we're just in a video game. There's some non-playable characters. You can beat them up if you want. I mean, that's not what he means, but that's what I'm getting out of this. I mean, we're gonna be a little hard on this dude. You know what I'm saying? This guy makes video games, bro. For fuck's sake, man. He's like my cousin who sells crack. He sells video games, the same shit, the same dopamine, bro. Fuck.
They're just code and they're AI. Then there's the RPG version, which is that we are actually doing a role-playing game, right? So you exist outside the game, and then you have a character or avatar inside the game. So it's just like what we would consider an MMORPG today, right? Except with more sophisticated technology. And so in that case, you know, you get a little bit of a different answer than if you talk about an NPC-only type of simulation, right? Because that's just running on a computer, and we're all AI in that case. Now, the two aren't mutually exclusive, right? In a video game like Fortnite or whatever, World of Warcraft, you have NPCs and you have PCs or player characters, right? So you've got both of those things going on. And so depending on how you look at it, you might come to different, different answers about.
This is interesting. This is crazy. I never thought about it like this. So what if in real life, the NPCs, what is the main, is it a spectrum? Like the NPC to a PC, is it a spectrum? What if the NPC has certain abilities that makes it a PC? And what if the PC has certain flaws and weaknesses that almost makes it an NPC, or he's halfway there? And this NPC is halfway PC. Like there's probably a fucking, I don't know, based on his example, what if a fucking guy who gets beaten up at the bar, the NPC can also draw good pictures. So he has his own life when he goes home, and he sells those paintings. So he has a playable character traits. He's also an NPC in someone's world. Maybe an NPC in your world could be a PC in someone else's world. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, shit, bro, that's a...
Singularity. Now, we've heard the term singularity mostly because of like AI and super intelligent AI, right? And
singularity. Like I've heard that shit. I've heard this word a lot. Like I need to really Google this shit. I never got to Google it before. Wait, singularity meaning. It's the state, fact, or quality of being singular, a singular, unusual, or unique quality. Okay, so it's basically different. In simple words, it's just something that doesn't happen. There's something that's not normal, something out of the ordinary. Okay.
AI is going to take over the world. But the guy who defined the term was actually a computer scientist who became a science fiction writer named Werner Vinge. In fact, he just passed away like a month ago or something.
Werner what?
AI is going to take over the world. But the guy who defined the term was actually a computer scientist who became a science fiction writer named Werner Vinge.
Werner Vinge. I got to Google that name too. Werner Vinge. American author. Werner Stephen Vinge was an American science fiction author and professor. He taught mathematics and computer science at San Diego State University. He was the first wide-scale popularizer of the technological singularity concept and among the first authors to present a fictional cyberspace. Interesting. This dude looks like Joe Rogan's dad, bro. Fuck.
A month ago or something. He was a real pioneer.
Rest in peace.
Like science fiction.
To singularity maker, term finder.
Cyberpunk kind of subgenre or so. AI starts to become super intelligent and it grows exponentially.
Wait, what did he say?
Now, he gave like 4 different ways we could reach the singularity.
How? 4 different ways, bro? One is scary. Bro, AI is scary, bro. AI could replace me in a second. Shit, bro. What do you mean by you got 3 more, my man?
Most of us talk about only one, which is AI starts to become super intelligent and it grows exponentially and everything will be different. But I think this idea of the simulation point where we can create simulations that are indistinguishable from reality. And I lay out like 10 stages in my book of all the technology we would need, including brain-computer interfaces, like in the Matrix, right? So
or Neuralink.
Or Neuralink, right? We're getting there, right?
We're very close
to the simulation point.
So this dude is saying we're at stage 7 or stage 8 to the simulation point. So what I understand from whatever he said is like the simulation point is this. What?
Right, we're getting there, right?
We're very
What the fuck was that?
We're at the technology.
What's the simulation point? Bro, I gotta Google this shit, bro. He's trying to confuse me. He's trying to trap me inside a game, bro. Simulation point. The single simulation point typically represents a phase transition. So the single simulation point typically captures the behavior of 2 dominant phases. I didn't understand a single word.
Including brain-computer interfaces, like on the way to the simulation point. Characters that are in...
Wait. But you are doing that. This dude is doing that simulation point thing. He's the one making the video games look real. Oh, you trying to snitch on yourself?
Distinguishable from biological characters. So, you wouldn't be able to tell you're talking to an NPC, basically.
Right.
We're getting closer to that already.
Yeah, you're the reason we're getting close, boy.
There's like companies out there doing smart NPCs now in video games.
Right, but what would be the difference between looking at what is possible in the future and making either a hypothesis or suggesting that has already taken place?
Right, so that's kind of the leap, right, that you need to make, which is to say that if we can years ahead of us, right, but certainly 1,000 years ahead of us. So where will computers be in 1,000 years?
A civilization that's 1,000 years ahead of us. It's crazy how Quran talks about this. There's a surah in the Quran. I forgot the. All right, let me Google that. It's Surah Jinn. Okay, I know that. I don't know the name of the surah, but I want to read out the exact verse that it talks about the jinn. Okay. Quran verses about the Quran mentions how the Prophet Solomon contrived to subjugate the jinn and get them to perform tasks that require strength, intelligence, and skill. So he talks about our prophet, how our prophet Solomon used to summon jinns to work for him, basically, to do things that he couldn't do, things that require labor, strength, intelligence, and skill. If you connect all this shit, right? If you connect all the theories that's been floating around, Graham Hancock. Here's a funny name, by the way. Hancock. I mean, okay. So the shit the shit that keeps on popping up, like, yo, there was a previous civilization who were smarter than us, better than us. If that's true, Quran already talks about it. The jinn, Solomon used to talk to them and get their help based off of their strength, intelligence, and skill. Like, that also shows you maybe there are different classes of the jinn. That is an interesting point to be made, bro. Like, bro, we gotta pay more attention to religion, bro, and not just the Quran, even the Bible, the Torah, Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism. All those religions are important.
It would already have created these types of simulations,
Right?
Because if we can do it now, 50 years ago, we didn't know if we could do it. We didn't know if computers could get to that. And so the point is, if they already got there, they created a whole bunch of simulations.
There's
and you can't.
There's a 70% chance of us living in a simulation. I don't understand why that's important, though. Like, why does it matter if this is a simulation? This feels real to me as much as it feels real to you, right? So even if it is, right, like, it's eating an apple, okay? And you're taking your first bite, second bite. Then you look at the apple. Does it really matter who you bought it from? It doesn't. You would eat it regardless. You bought it with your own money. You have it in your hand. You're hungry. It tastes the same. It don't matter if you bought it from Key Food or you're fucking an apple that you're eating and you're halfway there. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same for all of us. Like, if you believe that it's a simulation, and I don't, our experience is the same. Same emotions, man. It don't matter. But I understand where it's coming from. I understand, but I also understand this perspective, like why that's important.
But you can't tell the difference. So
you can't tell the difference.
More likely in. Just statistically speaking, now we're not even, projecting the technology forward. We're just saying it's more likely you're in one of the 99 than the one because there's so many more of these, right?
Sort of.
If you can't tell the difference.
That's why I fuck with Joe, man. It's like, sort of. Like, he's not buying into it just because you're selling it. Remember how I started off by saying this guy's selling an idea, okay? And Joe Rogan, you see why he's so good at podcasting, because he doesn't get sold. He's like, he can't just sell shit to him. Like, you gotta convince them, like, yo, this is what I believe and this is the reasons. He gonna say, sorta. That's why I fuck with him, bro. That's why I fuck with him.
If you can't tell the difference. But there's so many things you have to think about, right?
Yeah.
There's so many things you have to take into consideration.
Yes.
One of them is we don't have you are just waking up. Like,
Islam talks about sleep like it's death. Your soul goes to God, the creator, to Allah, and he keeps it. And then he says it back when you wake up. That's what Islam says. And I believe what Islam says. And I still don't understand the angle that this conversation is taken on sleep, but that's my angle that I take. Like, whenever I sleep, I say, Allahumma bismika amutu wa ahya. Right? That's the dua before you sleep. That's what I was raised on. So, because you just give your soul to God. Like, God, just take care of it. Well, I'll just sleep. My dead body's lying on the bed. That's all of us. That's what I believe. And let's see what this guy says.
I woke up this morning. I don't know if this is the life I've always lived.
Right.
I'm assuming it is because I have all these detailed memories of the past. I see my dog. He reacts the exact same way he always does. I see my wife. I see my kids. I see my house. It's the same house that I remember. But I'm not sure. I just woke up.
Right.
I'm a little foggy already.
It just
right?
existed.
Especially if you start your day off with a nice bong rip. You're a little more foggier, but you're more. I'll stop that. Listen. I don't know. Let's just continue.
It just exists in the same house that I remember.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. I just woke up.
Right.
I'm a little foggy already.
Right. I see where he's getting at. I see what he's trying to say.
It just exists in your memory.
And so
this might be the first day of my life.
Oh, shit.
Suppose that you can implant false memories, right?
Right.
So this was a popular topic for Philip K. Dick, right?
Yes.
This dude just throwing out names like we know all these names. We don't. Philip K. Dicks. I don't know. I just don't want Dick. But anyways, what Joe's trying to say is when you die, you really don't know what happened yesterday. These are just memories that you have. So sometimes vague memories. A lot of people don't even remember how the shit from their childhood. So you just vague memories that line up day by day to form the opinions and the perspective that you have today. So what Joe is implying is, hey, what if all that shit is not true? What if all that shit is fake? Okay, that's a very interesting point.
Total Recall, even in Blade Runner. Right? You know, I interviewed his wife while I was researching
what was it?
memories, right?
Right.
So this was a popular topic for Philip K. Dick.
Okay, Philip K. Dick. Okay, Dick. Let me see. K. Dick. Who is this? Okay. Often referred by his initials PKD, was an American science fiction writer and a novelist. He wrote 44 novels and about 121 short stories, most of which appeared in science fiction magazines. Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Movies like Total Recall, and even in Blade Runner. Right? You know, I interviewed his wife while I was researching, my book. And
why did you interview his wife, son?
Oh, boy.
He was an interesting guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said some interesting things. In fact, all the way back in 1977 in Metz, France, at a sci-fi convention, he said, there's a pretty famous quote. He said, "We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is if some variable is changed, some alteration occurs in our reality." Right? And that's become kind of a famous quote in the simulation world. But if you listen to the rest of the quote, he says, well, we would basically rerun the same events and we would change some variables, right? And we would have a sense of deja vu. Like, maybe we've already done this, right? I
think this guy has watched The Matrix too many times, man. Because at what point do us humans just sit back and realize maybe there is a God? Maybe there is one. And maybe it's not just computers. Maybe it's not just a big ass data center in space trying to control our lives. Maybe it's just God, and maybe we don't understand it yet, and it's fine. At what point do we say that, or just accept that, or fuck accepting that, or even have a little bit of the perspective in our head just to keep our mental stability up? We need that. We need God, man. People don't get it. Like, we're made to worship. Either you're going to worship the machines or God.
Altering with our reality, they would change a few variables and rerun the simulation forward. So now we're getting pretty deep in the rabbit hole. So this is the topic of...
So someone is... Bro, these people would try so hard not to mention the word God. You understand? I'm not talking about him. He already talked about God. I think he understands more than what he's saying now. I'm just saying, a lot of people don't want to say the word God. Like, God said it himself. Like, yo, I'm going to test you. Allah said it. I'm going to test you. This world is a test. That is him basically changing a couple variables in your life. Yo, let's see how you deal with this. Let's see if you, okay, you dealt good. Okay, now you deal with this. Okay, let's see your true character. That's God. That's Allah. That's something he's talking about. And I'm going to say it again. I'm not talking about this guy. I'm just speaking in general. Like, people in general don't want to say the word God nowadays. I don't know why.
So that gets a little weird at that point.
That's just how I'm feeling now, bro.
Right? Because now we're saying that time isn't the same thing, right? That we think it is. So with the simulation hypothesis, we're saying that space, you run it again, maybe things are slightly different the second time you run it.
Okay, he's talking about how there could be different levels to the simulation. He's talking about how there's different parts of the simulation. And if you change a couple things in one, and you change a couple different things, you change other different things. Okay, the example is, maybe in simulation 1, you're changing ABC. In simulation 2, you're changing CDE. So these two will run differently. This is what he's saying.
If you've seen it, it was on Amazon a few years ago.
Man in the High Castle. Let me Google that shit, man. High Castle summary. What is The Man in the High Castle about? Man in the High Castle by Philip K. Dick is a thought-provoking novel set in an alternative reality where the Axis powers won World War II. It explores the consequences of the outcome and delves into themes of power, identity, and nature of reality. Deep.
But in the novel and in the series...
About this guy. This guy spends a lot of time reading science fiction. That's very interesting for a gaming guy. Like, this guy makes games also, but it's understandable. Like, he maybe has taking some of those ideas and put them into gaming, and that makes the gaming better because the more is out of reality, the more you enjoy it, right? Okay.
Like the East Coast is amnesis, which means a loss of forgetfulness.
Oh. I'm gonna share my story, but let me listen to what this guy
said.
said. I'm one of the.
You might be able to remember these other runs of the simulation. So anyway, that gets us YZ. Is that what actually happened, or is it just a representation of the past in the present?
That is so interesting. This is probably the most interesting part of the whole podcast because that happened to me, man. There's a bunch of parts in my past that gets modified every now and then based off my experiences in the present. I don't want to get too much into it, but it's scary. It is scary. And I think it's just my brain. I think I'm going a little.
Fathers of quantum mechanics, and he came up with several things that I was talking about. But one of them is the delayed choice experiment, or the cosmic delayed choice experiment. Which
let me Google that. Cosmic delayed choice experiment. The delayed choice quantum eraser experiment. There's a bunch of words I don't understand. Investigates a paradox. If a photon manifests itself as though it had come by a single path to the detector, then common sense says that it must have entered the double slit device as a particle. This is a detector than common sense. I don't I think I understand, but I really don't understand what this is. Okay.
Puts into doubt this idea of the past. And since we're talking about the past, let's go into this now, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So imagine there's something like a quasar to here. So it's going to take.
What's a quasar? What the fuck is that? Quasar definition. A massive and extremely remote celestial object emitting exceptionally large amounts of energy and typically having a star-like image in a telescope. Oh man, this shit looks spooky, bro. Fuck.
A billion years to get here because it's a billion light years away. And then suppose there's something in the middle, like a black hole. So
he's talking about a quasar, which looks like a star-like thing, and he's talking about a black hole inside it. Okay, that's as much as I understand now.
Suppose the light has to go to the left. A million years ago, right? The light went to the left or to the right. But which one happened isn't decided until the measurement is done today.
Oh, shit. I think I get it. I mean, I get parts of it. Okay? Fuck, man. So, okay. To put it in simple terms, this is what I think. My cousin Leo and me, we're playing, what do I say? We're playing hide and seek. Okay? And let's say my girlfriend is looking for us. Okay? And I'm hiding in room A, and Leo is hiding in room B. And there's a countdown of 60 seconds. She has to close her eyes, and this is the procedure of hide and seek. Like she has to 60, 59, 58, and then look for us, right? So until those 60 seconds pass, which is a million light years here, and she comes looking for us, and she finds us, she doesn't really know which room we're at. So there's like two possibilities. I could be in any room. Leo could be in any. We could be out of the house. Right? So until she sees it, she doesn't really know. That's what I think, bro. I don't know, bro. Yeah, man. I think this guy's good, but there's some points that I'm defensive about. Like I want to protect my religion, my beliefs, but I appreciate and respect the perspectives that were shown on this podcast.